All right, guys, we are going to go over the next step in Excel, which is going to be charts, different chart types, and how we kind of mess with that. Okay, so first off, I just put in some random data. So what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and we want this title to be, well, we want to basically merge the cells. Okay, so that'll allow us to have a cleaner looking chart, right? So we've done this before. We just highlight the cells we want, right? And then I'm going to click merge and center. Okay, so now it's nice and clean. It's all in one cell. It's not multiple cells, which then allows us to, I can double click this A and it's going to auto adjust to the Back to the Future because that's the longest text. If I didn't have these cells merged, it would have gone to the full length of greatest 80s movies. Okay. Next thing I want to do is I want to highlight everything that I want on my chart. Okay. So that's the first step is I want all this data on my chart. Let's say I had some other data, just some gibberish down here, right? And let's say there's just random numbers, whatever. If I don't want that stuff on my chart, right, then I don't highlight it, okay? So I'm going to activate these cells, and then I'm going to go to the Insert tab, right, because I'm inserting a chart. And then I'm going to go over to my charts, and I have lots of different types, okay? So the test might ask you to do a column chart, right? So that's the one we'll do right now. I click on this column, and then I can click just whatever chart I want. I'm going to do this one because it's nice and fancy, okay? Now, once I have this, I can manipulate the data with chart elements. Okay, when I'm clicked off of this, notice that those tabs disappear. Once I click on, I have the design tab and format tab. Okay, that's also another way. If you don't see these options, I also have them up here. Okay, so for instance, if I want to change a chart element, right, I can change lots of different things, data labels, chart titles, etc. Right? Legend, let's say I want the legend on the left, whatever that looks like, right? So, let's go ahead and do this. Another option I have is, let's say, select the data that I want. I can hit the F11 key on the top of the keyboard. It goes all the way from F1 up to F12. If I hit F11, it will automatically create another sheet for me. Okay. So F11 creates another sheet that is just the chart. Okay. And then with that, let's say I want to change a chart type, right? This is on both options, right? If I click on that, I can actually go here and click change chart type, right? And I can go ahead and select the chart that I need to. And then again, I can also switch. There's lots of different things I can do, right? So basically manipulating charts, it's hard to go over everything, right? Because there's so much with a chart, but just know that your number one resource is probably going to be this add chart elements. Okay, and then whatever it wants you to edit, like let's say it wants me to edit the title, I'd go over here. I can always go to the more options and you'll get this thing that appears on the right, right? And I can go through and change different things depending on what it's asking me to do. I also have the chart styles, right? So I can change it to a different style. That looks 80s, right? Okay. So again, there's lots of different ways you can change the chart. I also want to go over print settings. Okay, so print settings are going to be in the backstage view. So backstage is file. So I'll click on file, click on print. I have a lot of different options, right? So first option, print selected chart, right? I can select the chart. I can also print the entire workbook or a certain selection. It just depends on what I'm looking for. Because I was clicked on this specific chart, it's only printing that, right? I can also choose print one-sided, print on both sides with the flip side, or on the short edge. Collated. So the thing with what collated means is it prints it in order. So let's say I have a packet 1 through 5, right? And let's say I'm handing it out to the class. I want them to already be in order if I'm handing them to you individually, right? So I can have it collated. Or the other option is I can have it uncollated. So let's say I have 5 pages. I would want all of page 1 printed first. So it would print page 1, page 1, page 1, page 1. And then once it's done printing the number of copies I selected, it would go on to the next page, page 2, page 2, page 2. Okay, so that's collated versus uncollated. We can also change the orientation, right? Just depending on what I'm looking for. I can change what kind of paper is being printed on. And then I can also select the type of margins. I want custom margins, etc. And I can also click page setup if I have maybe some more specific things, right? If I want a header, footer, custom header, footer, different things. Okay. The other thing I can do, let me see if I can get that out of that. All right. So if I want to go file, print. So the other option that appears is scaling, right? So if I say no scaling, the pages are going to be their actual size. I can also fit the sheet onto one page, fit all columns onto one page, fit all the rows. Okay. So it just depends on how big your chart is. Right now, it's not as big of a deal, right? But if I had a lot of information that I wanted to fit on the one page, I'd maybe try to fit it all on one page, right? So like that. So obviously it makes your font much smaller, but it does have its uses. Okay. And then it'll, especially on the test, you might get some of those options. Okay. And then I can also print multiple sheets, right? So the different sheets depending on what I want. Okay. And then the last thing I'm going to go over, if I can get out of this, is show hide formula shortcut. Okay. So let's say I have these formulas. Let's go ahead and just create some formulas real quick. I don't care what it says, right? I just want to know that I have formulas. So do an auto sum. Okay. All right, so I have formulas in each of these boxes, right? When I click on the box, it has a formula. If I hold the control key, the plus key, and then it's in the top left, it's to the left of the 1 on most keyboards, it's a little squiggly. If I hold all 3 of those, it automatically will show me, it'll automatically show me what my formulas are in every single box. And that's considered the show hide formula shortcut. So again, it's the control key, the plus key, and then the little squiggly to the left of the 1. So I got to do that all at the same time. And when I do that at the same time, it shows and hides formulas. Okay. See if I do. Can I not? All right. Yeah. So control key and then both those at the same time will show the formulas. Okay. So that's pretty much it for this one. Again, it's hard to go over every single thing with the different details that you can use with your with charts, but that's kind of the gist of it.